we had kids, I was very excited about being a dad, and I stopped pretty much all recreational activities and just really was hyper focused on saving money, buying stocks, buying gold and silver. I had wanted to buy Bitcoin, but Mrs. Garcia's dad had talked me out of that at that time. We were really focused on health at the time. When Everett was born, we were feeding the kids, or we were feeding ourselves pretty much all organic food, really hyper focused on doing the research on what the best idea was to raise kids. And at the time we were living in Southern California, pollution and the traffic, just everything in Southern California is not really the ideal scenario for raising kids. I kept upping my career over and over again, trying to get more wages, and eventually landed a job in Oregon, managing data centers for a whole bunch of internet service providers all across the country for a company called Visp.net. Visp.net was a really good job for me. These are all images of before we moved to Oregon, right here in our little apartment in Oceanside. Also, we lived in a very small apartment, so we really kind of needed to move anyway, and I figured that was a good time to move to the country and get more fresh air, fresh water, and hopefully some land for a reasonable price, which is very difficult to do in Southern California. This is me and Everett and my grandpa, who's passed on since then, and my dad, or Everett's grandpa. Everett and Grace haven't seen their grandpa or talked to their grandpa in years now, and that's a big part of why I'm here too. It's not just that the kids have been alienated from me, but they've been alienated from my entire side of the family, and it's been really a tragedy for everybody in my family, especially my mom and dad, who are getting up there in years, were very involved in the kids' lives right up until we got divorced. So when we moved to Oregon, we stayed very focused on health and saving money and making money. I kept getting promoted at my job, kept getting raises at my job. Pretty soon they were flying me across the country to help design data centers for our clients. And I was also in charge of training a lot of our staff on the networking technology that our business relied on and most of our clients' businesses relied on. At this point, we also tried to buy a house from my uncle in Grants Pass, and we totally remodeled that house too. This is before we moved into that house, so this is we had a rental on the river in Grants Pass there. This is Everett playing on one of my guitars here. And again, here's this was Father's Day. I think this must have been 2013, and that's Everett and me and my dad's dad. This is the house that we bought in Grants Pass. It was 5 or 6 acres, and there was all kinds of fruit trees, and we were remodeling it. When we first bought it, it was quite run down, and it was infested with fleas, and so we laid diatomaceous earth all throughout the house and killed all the fleas. Then totally remodeled it stem to stern, put in new floors in some rooms, repainted almost all the rooms, touched up all the walls that needed to be touched up before painting. It was just going to be a really great place to be raising kids. But I'd kind of reached the ceiling of my job at Visp, and it was very unlikely that I was going to be able to make more money there. And also, one of the guys who was my immediate boss at Visp, a really great guy, but still a good friend of mine to this day, he was just so capable at his job, it was unlikely I was going to get advanced past him because he's, absolute IT wizard. So that's just the reality of that situation. So I did start applying for other jobs. This is still Grants Pass. This is Halloween. I think Everett was a dinosaur here. And this is still Grants Pass. This is the kitchen that we remodeled. We painted it yellow. Mrs. Garcia had picked that color. And here's Everett and I having a fun bad hair day together, making funny faces. And then Grace was born in December of 2013. It seemed like everything was going really, really well, but I wasn't really making quite enough money. I mean, I was making good money, but it just wasn't quite enough to save money and to have enough to put the kids through college and pay off the house and all that kind of thing. So I was applying for other jobs at this time. These were some very happy times here. I think this is Christmas of 2013. We're still in Grants Pass here. And then so I got a job eventually as the IT director for 13 school districts in Coos Bay, Oregon, working for the education service district there. So we were basically in charge of the upper level IT routers, firewalls, and servers for 13 different school districts on some level. Some of the school districts we managed everything. Some of the school districts we only managed a portion of their IT. But a lot of the districts we managed in a really hands-on way. This had to have been early 2014, somewhere in there. This is when we first got to North Bend, which is Coos Bay and North Bend are pretty much the same town, and we were renting a place there near the beach. And I'm wearing my work outfit here. This is definitely something I would have worn to work. So this must have been after work. The job was very grueling at the ESD. I was sometimes working 60, 70-hour weeks, depending. And I wasn't really seeing the kids enough, so that was frustrating. Then eventually we bought a farm there in Coos Bay. That was very exciting. 24 acres of, some of it was pristine temperate rainforest, and some of it was farmable land. And I was researching on how to grow commercial organic kiwis. Apparently it's a good climate for kiwis, and kiwis are pretty lucrative cash crops. So this was us. This must have been Christmas 2015, I think. Maybe when my parents came down from Alaska. Must have been somewhere in there. And we dressed up and did family photos. Happy times. But again, at this time I was working far too much. I was working way too many hours, and my boss was not my favorite person that I ever had to work for, which is funny because all my previous bosses have been great. I had a really great boss in San Diego. I had a really great boss in Grants Pass. And actually I have a bunch of really great clients here in Hawaii now. Some still in Arizona, California, and Oregon still. Actually, I still have a few clients there as well. Here's me and Everett. These are family photos. This is one of the last photos of my grandpa, or Everett's great grandpa. And this was at my dad's house there in Grants Pass. He owns a small farm in Grants Pass and is hyper focused on growing organic food, corn, tomatoes. We were eating really, really well there, which is kind of the point why we moved there. We were trying to get as much organic, homegrown fruits and vegetables as we could, since we had a young growing family. This is me and Everett at the Oregon County Fair in Grants Pass, at the Josephine County Fair, where I used to, in high school, actually, my swim meets were at the YMCA, which is right in that same complex there, really nearby where this photo was taken. And this was on our street in Grants Pass around Christmas time. This must have been maybe the year after Grace was born? No, it had to have been the year, this must have been before Grace was born, early Christmas time. And here is my whole family, my mom, my brothers, myself, my stepdad, and Everett and Grace. They came down at least once a year to come see the kids, and we flew up to Alaska to come see the kids, and we video chatted all the time with the kids, and almost all of them have no relationship with Everett and Grace now. It's been 3 years, and the alienation has been so egregious by Mrs. Garcia that they've pretty much all given up. You know, they don't even, I don't even know that they send cards or anything anymore. I also have a stepsister too, who's not in this photo, and she's never got to meet Everett or Grace. She met Everett at the baby shower in San Diego years and years ago now. Here's me and Everett and Grace at our rental in North Bend. This was probably either after work or on the weekend there. And here we are eating a bunch of organic vegetables out of our own garden. We had quite a nice little garden there in North Bend, although it was a little too close to the ocean, so the wind blew kind of hard, and it was difficult to grow plants that would get kind of smashed down by the weather there, because we were just too close to the ocean. When we bought the farm in Coos Bay, inland a little bit, the weather was a lot more mild, and we were able to grow a lot more food. Here we are at State Park, I think, on the Oregon coast. We used to go hiking almost every weekend, really focused on health and what was best for the kids every day. That's just, I was so ecstatic to be a dad, and was just really hyper focused on feeding them the best food we could feed them, and getting them plenty of outdoor activities and exercise, and for me to get plenty of outdoor exercise as well, so that I could definitely make it into, to maybe be a good grandpa someday, God willing, or at least be around for them to graduate high school and go to college and all that. This was probably the Shore Acres State Park. This might have been that same day, I think. Here we are on a different hike at a different location on the Oregon coast. There's Grace in the front pack. She was just a new baby at that time. And this is a different day, again, on a different hike, also in that kind of same general area, but a little ways away. The Oregon coast is really beautiful, and we were really, really lucky to live there. And at the time, I was making a lot of money at my job. I was making upper 5 figures, and plus we were still playing in the band, so we were making a lot of money on the weekends as well. But I wasn't getting enough time with the kids, and it was really starting to eat at me at that time, because obviously the kids were my hyper focus. And we did need to make money. This is the Shore Acres Rose Garden. Pretty incredible place if you get a chance to go there. This is in downtown Coos Bay on one of my lunch breaks. You can tell I'm wearing my work outfit there. I used to try and get home and see the kids every day for lunch because I was working so many hours. Just really trying everything I could to be the best dad I could, even though I had a lot of hours. There's another hike. This, I think, was at the Golden and Silver Falls, which is one of the most spectacular hikes anywhere and that I've ever been on. We used to go on that hike quite a bit when we lived on the farm because it was nearby. This is also that same hike, but this is with my cousin Ariel. And again, this is another family member who was, very involved. She came and stayed with us and helped us in the garden and was, actively involved with the kids. And, she's just been totally cut out altogether of Everett and Grace's life now, as has everybody on my side of the family, almost completely. Here we were building a well house. We were trying to put in a new well, and I used to always have Everett and Grace help me with the hands-on stuff, holding a tape measure, helping me load the wheelbarrow and going to the hardware store. I think at this point I had already resigned my contract at the ESD, and I was spending more time trying to improve the farm. We were going to build some Airbnbs and rent them out, and I was also doing my own private IT business at this time, and I was just starting to ramp up and get some clients, which was nice. But it was really just all about trying to make up for all the lost time that I'd already had with the kids because I had been working so much at the ESD. And so I was really just trying to spend as much time with the kids as I could. Here we are. This must have been like a weekend morning or something. Sometimes Grace would go outside and pick wildflowers and come running in and bring wildflowers directly into the bedroom, and Everett would jump in the bed and we would read Dr. Seuss or Narnia or Robinson Crusoe. Those were all things we were reading at this time when we took this selfie here. These were probably the happiest times of my life, if I'm being honest. I was with the kids a lot. Now, during this time, Mrs. Garcia had taken a job at a marijuana dispensary, and so she was working pretty much full-time Monday through Friday at a marijuana dispensary, and I was with the kids full-time at home, working on the farm and working on their education. Everett completely knew how to read. In fact, while he was here at the house in Oregon, where these photos were taken, he was reading the Narnia Chronicles. This is in the airport. Grace and I got left behind when our flights got separated, and Everett and Mr. Garcia flew ahead of us to San Diego, and we waited behind at the airport. I think this must have been Portland or maybe Eugene or San Francisco. I don't remember what it was. I think it was maybe in the middle of two flights, so it wasn't our destination. We got stuck at some airport for hours. We were there for 8 hours waiting for the next plane. It was a tough situation, but Grace was a real trooper. You could tell we're both really tired in this picture, though. And now this is down in Encinitas. So during the time when we were in Oregon, Mrs. Garcia got a job at the marijuana dispensary, and she was drinking more and more heavily every day. She would go out drinking on her lunch break with her boss, locally known as Rotten Robbie. He's a guy with a huge criminal past and several ex-wives, and he definitely drinks a lot and does all kinds of other drugs. And most of his employees also are heavy drug users and drinkers. I mean, that's kind of who you attract when you own a marijuana dispensary. And at that time, Mrs. Garcia was drinking more and more, and really smoking a lot too. She was doing dabs in the office with other managers, and she was driving too. Even though she already had 2 DUIs at this point, she would get really drunk and really stoned and then drive around Oregon. And I was very concerned about it. And I kept trying to get her to stop drinking, but she wouldn't listen to me. She would drink to such excess and also do dabs, which is like a highly concentrated form of marijuana. It's not just like smoking a joint or smoking marijuana, the flower out of a bong or something like that. It's the oil resin that's like a condensed form of the THC. It's very, very strong, very intoxicating. I've only smoked dabs once myself, and I was like, I was very stressed out. I had very huge anxiety because it was it was a very overwhelming experience. And she was doing that on the regular at this time, and drinking a lot. And she would come home and she would be so you can call it crossfaded when you're drunk and stoned. She would be so crossfaded, she would sit on the couch and just kind of scroll through Netflix and never pick something. She would just, all she could do was just go through the menu endlessly without ever picking something. And the kids would be like, are we going to watch a movie or what? You know, they wanted to play with their mom because she'd been at work all day. And it was kind of at that time that I realized I had to stay a stay-at-home dad, because she was not exhibiting responsible behavior as a parent, or even just as a normal, healthy, functioning adult. And at that time, that's really kind of when our marriage started to fall apart, because I lost respect for her. The more she was going out drinking, the more she was getting stoned, the less she was being involved in the kids' lives, the less she was involved in the farm as well, you know. And also in our music group, we were really suffering too, because she would get so drunk at the shows that she couldn't play well. And then so we were starting to not get quite as many good gigs as we had had before, and so that was mitigating our income as well. So that was kind of the situation, previous divorce. And then one night, she passed out drunk and had left her phone on the charger, so the screen was on. It didn't go to like screen lock mode. And I started seeing texts roll through from some other guy. I'm the luckiest guy. You're so gorgeous. All this kind of stuff. And she'd been gone a lot, so I'd kind of had already suspected there was something going on. And then yeah, so the next morning we had a big fight, and she left and took the kids to San Diego to go live with her parents. So that's what happened. And then I sent the email, which I've entered into evidence, saying, you know, hey, listen, just please don't hurt my relationship with the kids. I'll give you anything, literally anything, houses, cars, money, computers, whatever you need. I'll make sure you have it. Please don't hurt my relationship with the kids. And of course, then she knew exactly how to hurt me, so she didn't let me see the kids at all, pretty much from that point on. Anything she's done since then has been pretty much like window dressing to attempt to show the courts that she's been allowing visitation or following the court orders. But really it's not even the letter of the law. She's violated the letter of the law, and she's certainly not following the spirit of the law, and she certainly hasn't been acting in the kids' best interest as far as letting them have a relationship with me, my parents, my brothers, my cousins, anybody on my whole side of the family. In fact, we were supposed to go see my grandmother Christmas of 2017, I think, and she violated that Christmas visitation order, and then my grandma died. So they never got a chance to meet my great-grandma, or their great-grandma, and she never got a chance to meet them. That's something I don't think I'll ever get over, much less the other, you know, almost 3 years now of extreme alienation and me not being there for the kids' first day of school, not being there for the holidays, birthdays, not being able to see Everett sporting events, not being able to go to the, you know, choral performances at the school, or the Christmas pageants or parades, or, I mean, I've just been totally out of the kids' lives almost for 3 years now. So, but as soon as she moved to Encinitas, as soon as she moved to Vista, to move in with her mom, I immediately, as quick as I could, closed up most of my business affairs in Oregon, which is very difficult to do. I had actually created quite a good, solid various streams of income there. I was running the local music school at that point, and I had a lot of IT clients, and I was still playing a lot of music. In fact, the band started doing really well again because we didn't have a severe alcoholic kind of sandbagging our performances. So we started getting a lot of really great gigs again, and so I was making a lot of money, and then I just had to drop it all because she wouldn't agree to any kind of shared custody situation. And so I just had to pretty much move to Southern California and start fighting in the court system there. The court system there is much more backed up than it is here in Hawaii. It's much more backed up than it is in Oregon. And you almost never get the same people at the court. You're always going to get a new case manager, a new judge. It's very chaotic, the California family court system, and very unfair and unjust, and I'll go into that in more detail later. But as soon as you move to Vista, I moved to Encinitas right away. I lived in Encinitas before, and I knew that one of the top-rated elementary schools in the country was in Encinitas, so I wanted to make sure that I had a residence in that district so that if I did get custody, Everett and Grace could start going to school there at Paul Ecke Elementary School in Encinitas, which is a school that I used to teach. Some of my violin students went there, and I had been to that school many times, and I'd seen it. They have a really great gardening program and a reading program, just an amazing amazing school. And if you're going to be in Southern California, that's definitely where you want your kids to go. So I immediately got residence very near that school, which was very costly. The rent there was $3,000 a month. And I got a 2-bedroom, and I completely furnished it, bunk beds, all new sets of clothes for the kids, books, toys, laptops, all, just everything the kids could possibly need. And I was really trying to set up a really nice place for them for the eventuality of when I got some custody. But that didn't end up happening. This is us at the Botanical Gardens in Encinitas. A pretty legendary place. This is me and the kids. When I had custody of them for a brief bit, we went on a camping trip in the High Sierras, and this is a picture from that. Parked somewhere outside of Death Valley, but I was always trying to do something educational and healthy with the kids. That was just been my whole focus. This is our old house in Oregon. Here we had chickens that we had raised since they were chicks, and they were all organic, and they laid all organic eggs all over the yard, and the kids would go and collect the eggs. And this is us at the historical Coos Theater, the Egyptian Theater in Coos Bay. A really interesting, cool, old building. I didn't get enough of the architecture there, but we used to go and see, I think we were watching The Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid. They used to show classic films there, and we used to go. This is us parked in the driveway at the farm, about to go into town. One of my IT clients was actually the local co-op that specialized in local and organic foods. So I was actually getting a discount on like organic food that we weren't growing ourselves, because they were one of my clients. And the kids used to love to go there. They knew, it's a small town. They knew everybody's name. Everybody knew them. It was really like just a wonderful place for them to be living. And it's just a shame we didn't get to keep living there. This is, again, I think the Golden Silver Falls hike. This is me, Grace, and Everett. We're heading the Golden Silver Falls hike. Just a spectacular hike. That's Silver Falls behind them there. And the kids were always such good hikers. This is Everett at the Coos Bay Library when I took him to toddler story time. He was so far ahead of the class every single minute of every day. He's just an avid reader. I think since then he's read all the Harry Potter books, and every book I've ever given him, he's just read cover to cover instantly. This was when I had them in that summer of right before the divorce trial. So this must have been the summer of 2017, I think. And we went to the Tall Ships Festival dressed as pirates, which was really fun. They have tall ships float in from all over the world to be there, the great big giant sailboats with multiple sails. And here we are. I think this might be on the street of the co-op or somewhere, and we're about to leave. But they used to love to go with Dad into town and go to all those stores where they knew everybody, and it's just a really good environment. Here we are camping on the Oregon coast. This is down in, this is quite a bit farther south from where we lived. This was in Port Orford, or just outside of Port Orford. I think this is called Cape Blanco. Really cold. Even though this is the summer, it was really cold, and I don't know, it was just a really fun adventure we went on. And this is the kids in one of our apple trees that we had. We had apple trees, and I had planted peach, cherry, plum, apricot. Almost any kind of fruit tree you can think of, I had already planted them. But there were a few trees already there when we bought the farm. This is an apple tree. There were also Asian pear trees, and blackberries and raspberries and strawberries. And this is us, I think, in downtown Coos Bay in front of the all-you-can-eat buffet that they had sometimes at the casino there. The kids used to like to go there. This is our garden. Grace was picking fresh strawberries out of the garden here. Here we are again on a hike. This is Golden Silver Falls. This was our inside of our house in Coos Bay. We had completely remodeled the kitchen. We had all new granite countertops, all oak cabinets, all stainless steel appliances. The place was really starting to be really nice right when everything went south. And they're eating organic French bread there. It's organic bread, organic eggs, everything. Just the eggs from our own chickens, just the maximum amount of nutrition you could get, and that's what I was trying to work on with them. Here we are in one of the rooms we're remodeling. You can see remodeling repair up there on the ceiling. We had a leak in the roof, and I had already patched that and repaired that. And here we are in that room. And then here we are back down in San Diego at the Yellow Deli during one of the brief times when I got a visit with the kids before Mrs. Garcia stopped letting me see them all together. There was actually a 6-month window where I didn't see Grace at all. And she was so upset that she couldn't breathe. And because she had been living with her dad full time before that. And rather than acquiesce and let her see her dad, Mrs. Garcia bought her an inhaler, even though it was clear that the trauma she was going through was related to the divorce and the fact that she couldn't see her dad anymore. Instead, Mrs. Garcia got her an inhaler instead of letting her see her dad. And it's just, that's the level of depravity that we're talking about here. And anyway, here we are at the Yellow Deli. And here we are at the beach at the apartment in Encinitas near the Palecki school that I had got. Those are clothes that I bought them. I bought them jackets, oversized warm jackets. And here we are at a therapist in San Diego County who was under the employ of Mrs. Garcia and did not give us a favorable ruling because he was being paid by her. So obviously we didn't get much out of that. This is us doing a video presentation, kind of like the one I'm doing now at the apartment in Encinitas, and having a video chat with, I think, my mom and stepdad, and when I took the screenshot. Here we are at an airport. This is before the divorce. This is when we went to go fly to Alaska and visit my mom in Alaska. Here's me and Everett and Grace on the 101 in Carlsbad going to lunch. Even when we went out to eat, I always made sure they ate super healthy acai bowls, lots of fruit, lots of vegetables. I'm just, once I became a dad, that's all I cared about, is taking care of my kids. And this last 3 years of just not being able to even see them hardly at all, it's just been really horrific for them, much more than for me. And it's unfathomable because I can barely fathom how horrific it's been for me. So here we are again on the Oregon coast on a hike. This is us at the Packed Family Visitation Center. We build things in color. It's really tough at the Packed Family Visitation Center though, because it's really stressful. You got to come in and out so quickly, and there's so many rules. Like we can't talk about the video chats. I can't talk about their birthday. I can't talk about anything in the future or the past. There's like a lot of rules that I understand are designed to help the kids, but they really hinder the relationship that a parent can have with their kids. A lot of the rules are just not helpful or healthy, and it makes this really weird, stressful, artificial environment to see your kids in, which I'm sure is necessary in some cases, but obviously I don't feel it's necessary in my case at all. I have no history of drug or alcohol abuse. I have no criminal history whatsoever, no history of violence, nothing. And it's been 3 years, and this is what I get: an hour and a half every 6 weeks. She's been only letting me see the kids every 6 weeks at family visitation, even though according to the existing ruling, I'm supposed to see them, 2-3 times a week. At this point, I only get to see them every 6 weeks. She demands that there's a 30-day notice for every visitation, and she uses that to postpone each visit as far out as she can. And at one of the visits, she told the kids that they could come visit me, or they could go to a birthday party. So they came running in, said, "Hi, bye," and then just ran out. And I hadn't seen him for 6 weeks, and I didn't get to see him for another 6 weeks after that because of her machinations with the 30-day notice clause or whatever. And I mean, that's when you're really starting to do damage to the kids, when you're making them aid in their own alienation from their parent. That's what really the evidence shows. If you read anything about parental alienation, the evidence shows that that's when you start doing the most harm to the kids, when you're allowing them to decide to alienate the other parent. And in this case, by saying they could either visit their dad or go to a birthday party. Of course they picked the birthday party rather than sit at Packed and build plastic houses for an hour with a stressed out dad who can't even talk to them. It's, yeah. This is us at Packed Family Visitation Center as well. And this is us at Packed Family Visitation as well. And you can see the kind of stressed out look on Grace's face because there's like somebody there supervising, and they can't ask me questions, and I can't tell them answers to questions like why they don't get to see me, why they don't get to come see my house, why they don't get to see their grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, And I'm not allowed to talk to them about any of that. And you can see that it's very stressful. This is the last visit that we just had a few days ago. And now suddenly we have a very soon visit, which again, this is just Mrs. Garcia trying to do window dressing and make it seem as if she's being fair with the visitation, when it's really just an act. She will do everything she can to not let me see the kids, and or anybody on my side of the family. And I hope to. I plan on providing the Skype logs so you can see just how little I even get to talk to them via video chat. Some of the video chats are like 5 seconds. Some of them are 5 minutes. And so that's only an hour a week. There's supposed to be 3 20-minute video chats. That's only an hour a week that I'm even can get with them. And she's shortened that down to like 10 or 15 minutes per week for both kids. So that's like 6 or 7 minutes each they get to spend with their dad per week. And this is the dad who they were living with full time on a farm that we owned, eating all organic food and doing healthy outdoor activities until she went on this new path of going from Navy guy to Navy guy to Navy guy, finally finding one who needed out of the barracks bad enough or whatever. I don't really care. And I wouldn't mention it either, except for she took the kids on dates with all of those different Navy guys. So I had to hear it from the kids, like, Dad, who's Mike? Dad, who's... And I heard through the grapevine there was another Navy guy in between. I understand once you're divorced, you're going to go start dating other people and meeting other people, and that's fine. But the fact that she took the kids with her on all those dates with all those different guys that's a level of depravity I just found shocking. And as a result, I've been furiously trying to fight in every court system I can. This is us at Packed Family Petition, rough housing. Wearing the Santa hat. I bought Grace a ukulele for her birthday. And this is Everett reading Our Nest is Best. And there's just another couple more shots of us from the past. This is us in Alaska visiting my parents. This is me and Everett and Grace going to the beach in my 1963 Dodge Dart. This is the second one. The first one I rebuilt myself from scratch. I didn't have time for that once I was a serious professional with kids, so I just bought this one as is. Here's the family. I think this is in Florence, somewhere north of Coos Bay, in one of those cute little towns. Here we are on another hike. I think this is Gold and Silver Falls again. Oh, here's a really cute picture of Grace. I think this might have been Father's Day in Coos Bay. Here we are again at the Gold and Silver Falls on another day. This is Silver Falls again. And this is this was the patio area for the apartment that I had rented in Encinitas in the really good school district that they never got to live in. They only got to visit me a few times there. In fact, the judge in San Diego, Judge Powazik, felt bad for me. And so he ordered the maximum supervised visitation there was. He wouldn't give me the unsupervised visits because he wanted to go through all the allegations and stuff. But he did order me the maximum supervised visitations. But to hire a visitation supervisor in San Diego is $60 an hour. So I think I got 2 6-hour days and 1 3-hour day per week. So that's 15 hours a week at $60 an hour. Times 4, it ended up being like something crazy, like $8,000 a month to take maximum advantage of the visitation that I had with the kids. And at a certain point, I just ran out of money, especially because I kept getting fired because Child Support Services was come after me, yeah. So I mean, I had a couple of really good jobs that I got laid off of because Child Support Services came to the accountant and said, "Hey, this guy owes money." This is me and Everett and Grace and their cousin at Everett's birthday party that we threw for him at the apartment in Encinitas with a supervised monitor, but also lots of other kids and stuff. This is on another one of those visits and another one. And we're pretty much back to the beginning now. So that's pretty much the story. Again, I don't have any criminal record whatsoever. I have quite a few parking tickets in Waikiki, which I'm sure should come as no surprise to anybody. I have just been fighting and fighting and fighting in every court, every way I can, just to get to see the kids so that they could be as least damaged by this process as possible. And Mrs. Garcia has fought me every step of the way, every way she could, violated every visitation order, violated every vacation order, violated the video chats. I'm going to provide all that evidence along with everything else I'm providing. You know, and I've heard things from the kids like dad rhymes with bad, and dad is the worst person in the world. Something's wrong with dad. He needs help. He needs mental help. Something else that Everett told me in one of the visits in San Diego. And also this is a pattern that's not fresh for Miss Garcia or her family. Her big sister did the exact same thing to her ex-husband, and he can't see his kid at all. He doesn't even get video chats. He's a little bit less savvy than I am, a little bit less successful professionally, etc. So I think that all played into his abuse and his child's abuse, which are even more extreme. But this is a game plan that Mrs. Garcia and her family have been following from the very beginning. And I believe they do it in a bid to maximize child support. I don't think they actually care that much whether or not the kids see the dad. But she knows I can make 6 figures a year, and she expects that she's going to get half of that. And so that, I think, has been the overriding directive of why she would not allow me to see the kids or allow the kids to see me. I don't know why she's been so cruel to my parents or my brothers, everybody else on my side of the family. I'm not really sure what that's all about. The judge in San Diego, he didn't allow me to present almost any evidence. He said, I'm not going to accept that. I brought 10 or 12 character witnesses and a stack of recommendation letters this thick to the hearing. He didn't accept any of it. I don't know. I can only assume based on what occurred that he had some prior relationship, perhaps with Mrs. Garcia's father. They had a weird interaction in the courtroom that made it seem like they maybe knew each other, and her dad worked right down the street from that courthouse and was about the same age as that judge. So I don't know. That's just speculation on my part. The ruling was so crazily one-sided and unfair. I mean, especially considering I have no criminal history of any kind of whatsoever. Since I've been under the restraining order, I've never violated it. I've never anywhere I wasn't supposed to. I've never called anybody I wasn't supposed to. I've never emailed anybody I wasn't supposed to. And despite that, it's just a relentless abuse of me and the children, especially in California. That was the most unfair, unreasonable ruling I've ever heard. At this point, it's obvious that Mrs. Garcia doesn't act in the best interest of our children. And I want to be able to be the one who makes important decisions for them, whether that's medical, educational, where they live and how. I am not going to engage in the parental alienation that she's engaged in. If I had full custody, when I did have custody for that brief little time in the summer of 2017, I made them video chat with their mom every single night for half an hour. And frequently we would call during that video chat and she'd be out at some bar somewhere drinking and, on a crazy Skype phone on her cell phone, like moving around, like being jostled with loud music in the background. But I knew that it was the right thing to do, and I knew it was important for the kids to continue to have a relationship with their mom. And so I've really been the antithesis of what she's been during this process. And so far, I've just been absolutely punished for it every step of the way. And she brings up a lot of things from social media. She brought up a lot of stuff from social media in the last hearing. A lot of it was stuff I didn't even post that wasn't even mine, like things other people had posted on my wall. So as a result, I'm no longer on social media in a meaningful way. And that's also really cost me financially because given that I do music and computer services, and those are services where you need to communicate and be able to advertise with clients and stuff, it's been really, really difficult. And in fact, I can't post, if I have a show, I can't post about the show that I have, regardless of the fact that I can't go on social media anyway, because she'll just find random things that aren't even really related to me to bring into the courtroom and use against me in the courtroom. Very successfully in California, I might add. I can't even advertise where I'm gonna have a show because I did that here in Honolulu, and she served me legal papers at the show. So here I am at the show, and this guy comes up and goes, Ray Thornton, and then hands me like a big fat stack of paperwork. And of course, it was about money. She wants to get paid. It was, this is the back child support you need to pay. And it was first I'm hearing in California, even though we all live in Hawaii. So I'd love to address any of the evidence that I know she's already submitted a big thick folder that I already kind of paged through. It's as usual. It's ridiculous exaggerations. In some cases, out and out falsehoods. And I would love to address any one of those in turn. I'm not a lawyer. I've spent over $200,000 on lawyers, and I've just lost and lost and lost. So the judge almost never, in previous cases, has almost never let me actually talk, never let me call witnesses, never let me submit evidence. So I am submitting this evidence the only way I know how. I do a lot of video editing for myself and for other clients. And so I'm putting together this video, and I'm hoping somebody actually sees it, actually looks at the record and says, here's a guy who has no criminal history whatsoever and hasn't been able to see his kids for almost 3 years. And that is just a travesty. It's a crime. It's a horrific human rights violation, especially for the kids. It's a human rights violation for me, for my parents, for my brothers and sisters, for my cousins, everybody on my side of the family. But it's a really horrendous form of abuse to 2 innocent children who had a fantastic life before this and didn't deserve to be dragged from Navy base to Navy base to Navy base, eating Jack in the Box, getting a broken arm, almost drowning. Some of the things I've heard that have happened to them under the watch of Mrs. Garcia and Mr. Garcia are just unspeakable. If you'd like to address those in the courtroom, I'd be happy to talk about them. Having all of my parental rights just absolutely violated has just been very difficult. And I've made it through, and I'm proud of myself on that. I mean, I have a place to live, and I have work, and I am eating and exercising and showing up to continue this battle over and over again. But it's been very, very hard, very hard. And I had to move away from all my friends and family, all my colleagues, twice already. I had to move from Oregon to California, and then I had to move from California to Hawaii. And it's been very, very hard, very hard. And I really don't know if I can move again like that. And so I just don't want to be, I just want to present a stable environment for my kids to be able to be in at least part of the time. I would really like 50-50 custody right down the middle and have no interaction with Mrs. Garcia at all. If that's what I could get, that would be absolutely the best for me. I think it would be absolutely the best for the kids. The weeks that I have them, I could take them to school, do like a half day at work. And then the weeks I don't have them, I could do, a day and a half every day at work. I am kind of run my own business and kind of manage my own schedule. So I'm fortunate that way. It's been a long, hard journey, and I'm tired. So I'm just asking, please, to stop all of this. Give me at least 50-50 custody, and also put me in charge of educational and medical decisions, and erase any financial agreements between anybody. I mean, I've spent so much money in this process between moving and giving up all that business and all those business partners and colleagues, and paying bonuses because I had to leave and fire a bunch of people suddenly. I had a lot of employees in Oregon, and I had to leave so suddenly. I felt terrible, and so I ended up liquidating a lot of the company assets and just giving that money to my employees because it was the right thing to do. And I had a lot of savings. I had 10 Bitcoin, I had Tesla stock, I had a lot of gold and silver and land and nice cars. I've got one guitar left out of all that expensive music gear and computer gear. I've got this little cheap laptop and a guitar and the clothes on my back, but I need to stop being persecuted by Mrs. Garcia, by the state, by whatever greasy lawyer she hires next. I don't know what else to say. This is the whole thing. If you have anything else to ask me, I've got all my paperwork here. I'm going to try and put together a Skype log and maybe a couple of pie charts about how little she's allowed me to be in the children's lives these last 3 years. Yeah, I swear this is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And I don't know what else to say other than what I've said. So Everett and Grace, if you ever get to watch this video and we don't solve some of this soon, when you get older and you get to watch this video or whatever, just know I love you very much, and I have done everything I can to help you guys. during this, and I'm so sorry that that I've been unable to up to this point. So, all right, thanks for listening.